everybody, it's Rebecca here at Why Mermaids, and today we're talking about the Hunger Games. Now, I was approached by the Harry Potter Alliance, which is a non-profit organization that focuses on the big issues in stories and tries to promote those issues. So they've had a lot of success and they really focus on inequality, human rights, and literacy. And they have a lot of really great programs, and I've been following them for a while. So I was approached by them about their newest campaign, which is about the Hunger Games, and it's called Odds in Our Favor. Odds in Our Favor asks people to tell their Hunger Games stories with the hashtag #MyHungerGames to highlight real-world occurrences of the themes in the book. Themes like racial inequality and economic inequality and violence and oppression and mental health and so many more. Now, I've taught the Hunger Games in the past to high school students, so I touch on a lot of these issues with them, and the Hunger Games is so great about that. But a lot of that has gotten lost in the movies. I would just want to throw it out there that while I am a full supporter of the Harry Potter Alliance and I love this campaign, I'm not being paid for this video. This is not technically a sponsored video. I'm making this video because I'm passionate about this cause, and I truly do believe in it. So it's not that kind of video, as I know some of you are probably thinking as soon as anybody starts with, well, I was approached by. This video I was asked to do it because I love the Hunger Games and because I can share this, not because I'm making any money off of it. So the movies are good. They're fun. I went and saw Mockingjay Part 2 this weekend, and they're really good at adapting the plot. They're one of the better book-to-movie adaptations, not as good as Lord of the Rings, but they're still fairly good with the plot. What they're missing out on is representation of these themes in the book. And the marketing campaign was completely wrong. I mean, just wait. The Hunger Games is about the divide between the rich and the poor, the people who need and the people who want. It's about the glorification of violence and the blasé attitudes people have towards in this society. Suzanne Collins was inspired to write the Hunger Games one night when she was watching TV. She was flipping between different channels, one of which had the war in Afghanistan and the other one had reality TV. And somehow that merge kind of mixed with a little bit of Roman influence, such as the Colosseum and Julius Caesar. Some of that all combined to make the Hunger Games. This is about how we as a society are able to switch between this horrifying news coverage of our soldiers dying in Afghanistan versus reality TV of who's gonna win The Bachelor and who's gonna win the Real World Road Rules Challenge. Why we care so much about these fictional, well, these real characters as opposed to the war and these violence and this oppression and the news and things that are actually important in the world. The books are horrifying when you read them. They are about teenagers and children pitted against one another to fight for their lives, to fight to the death, to save themselves. They didn't ask for it, they were put there because the Capitol was trying to oppress them. And it's entertainment for the citizens of the Capitol. It's teenagers fighting one another so that people at home can have something to watch on TV. And as a reminder that, hey, if you try to rebel against us, if you try to say what's really on your mind, this is what could happen to you. But the movie casts 20-somethings as teenagers, and they cut out a lot of that horrific violence, which I get why they did it because nobody really wants to watch it. But look at Battle Royale. Battle Royale was not as successful as the Hunger Games because the Hunger Games was rated PG-13. Battle Royale, the Japanese version and also one of the influences, is rated, I think, R, and it shows this terror and this horror so much better than the Hunger Games movie did. Yet the book is supposed to be like that. But then marketing took the glamour and the glitz of the Capitol and thrust it upon the people of America and the world. They want you to wear their makeup and eat sandwiches called the Catching Fire sandwich and go to a theme park based on the Hunger Games. Like, they completely missed the memo of what the Hunger Games is actually about. Rather than talk about the injustices Katniss and the other members of the different districts have to face every single day, the marketing campaign is saying, look like she did in the Hunger Games, look like the girl on fire. while completely forgetting about the fact and the reason that she had to become the girl on fire to begin with. They're talking about a theme park opening up, 2 of them, one in Dubai and one in Atlanta. Atlanta, as in America, as in people can go there, and I've seen so many people who are excited about this. A theme park of the Hunger Games. I don't get it. You can ride the train to the Capitol and ride in a hovercraft over Pan Am, but they're forgetting about the people who were going on those trips, who were riding the train and on the hovercraft, were doing so on their way to their deaths. I mean, you're not gonna take a train to Auschwitz, are you? Because that's pretty much the same thing. I mean, is there gonna be like an arena style show where you're separated into different districts and you're rooting for your favorite tribute to win like it is in medieval times? Only it's death? The Hunger Games style? I mean, what, are we supposed to just go and enjoy this? Will there be economical requirements to even get in? Like, oh, you have to make $80,000 just to go on this ride. Or are they gonna split people up based on where they come from and then divide you like that? Oh, you get to eat at this restaurant because you're from California, but you over here, you're from Virginia, so you have to eat at this separate restaurant over here that's not quite as good. That's what the Hunger Games narrative is about. So any park that just glorifies it is taking away the Hunger Games narrative and the Hunger Games themes and glorifying things that should not be glorified. I'm lucky to never have had to go and live through the extremes that Katniss and other citizens of Panem have to go through. I've always solidly been pretty much middle class, sometimes upper middle, sometimes just regular middle class, and you know, I've always been lucky. I don't have to deal with racial injustices. I've never been a victim of violence or mental health. However, I have sort of experienced them in a lesser degree. I don't have the super extreme stories, but I do have a story, because we all have a story. There was a time when I was young when my mom had to file for bankruptcy and we legitimately had to count pennies to go to the grocery store. I was lucky in the fact that my mom was a very hard worker and worked hard to provide for me and my sister, and she always had a job, but that's not the case for a lot of people out there, especially with the economic recession and the lack of jobs. I'm not saying it was easy, but I never needed for anything. I always had shelter, food, and a family, and somewhere I could call home, and I felt safe and secure in my life. I never was homeless, I never was starving. My mother worked hard to make sure that that was the case. But I've also had to always work hard. I've had a job steadily since I was 16 and old enough to drive. I've worked hard to graduate college and go and have a master's degree and get my own job and have my own career, and I was lucky enough that my mom was there to support me and help me pay for a lot of that, though I did pay for a lot of it on my own as well, and I'll probably be paying off that debt for at least the next 6 years, if not longer. And I'm 28 and graduated years ago. But at one point, I lived in Los Angeles and I worked 3 jobs just to be able to pay my bills. It was the reality of my situation, and I did what I had to do to survive, to live, to have a comfortable life like I was used to having. If it meant that I had to miss out on parties and hanging out with my friends so that I had to work another job, then I did. If it meant I had to work 2 weeks straight without a day off so that I could pay my bills, then I did. And yet, I still had to charge groceries to credit cards sometimes when it just wasn't enough. Credit cards that took me moving back across the country, back to my home state, to my hometown, and getting a career in a completely different field to pay off. I'm a teacher. I'm a high school teacher. I know what it means to be underpaid. I'm also smart enough to know that I can't say anything that's gonna change it, because that's just the reality of the situation. Complaining about it won't do a single thing. While our world in America and the whole world here is not Panem, thank goodness, a lot of the themes from the Hunger Games and from Panem are still prevalent in today's society. There are racial injustices and economic inequalities and violence, and the glorification of that violence. There's people with mental health issues, there's people who cannot survive a single day without fighting in their own real life Hunger Games. Help reclaim the narrative by sharing your story on social media such as Twitter and Tumblr with the hashtag #MyHungerGames. You can also check out other examples using that hashtag or going to myhungergames.org or oddsinourfavor.org. You can also go to those same places to look for ideas about how you can take action and join in this movement to help reclaim the narrative of the Hunger Games. That's it for me today, and may the odds be ever in your favor.